even if it's not like I'm prosperous financially from what I'm doing, I know that I'm still working within my purpose, and that gives me enough motivation to keep, doing it.
You were tuned into the Muse Report. I don't know why I'm telling you that. You clearly already know that. Well, thanks for tuning in, rather. And in this episode, I sit down with Naomi Parchment. Naomi is an amazing musician, songwriter, artist. She plays piano as well. And I'm going to give you all her plugs in the show notes for this episode. You really need to check out her music if you want to listen to some good quality music. So she's an artist and musician, and we discuss a number of topics in this episode. We first talk about the amazing leap of faith that she took, coming all the way from the United Kingdom in England to the United States, really on a major leap of faith, and something that she just felt was right in her spirit for that point she was at in her life. So that's such a powerful story within itself. And we also talk about social media, the pros and the cons, and the role it really plays in our generation, how it could be used effectively, and how we go about thinking about social media. So that's something that's really interesting as well. And we also talk about being just uniquely yourself. No one could be you. We all have the same 24 hours in the day. It really is all up to what you do with it. And we kind of put a little bit of musical spin on it because, of course, she's a musician, so music is going to be involved. But it's a great episode. You are not going to regret tuning in to this one. And also, guys, I just want to thank all of you who have been screenshotting your phones when I've been asking about it. Watching, well, for podcasts, you can see who's listening, but you can see how many people are listening, where they're listening from, but you can't exactly see who's listening. So by you guys screenshotting your phone and I'm able to see exactly who's listening, it just brings me joy to see real people are listening and engaging with what I'm putting out there. And even people have been sending me DMs and things on social media, giving me encouraging remarks and supporting comments. I really, really, really do appreciate it, guys. But if you really, really do want to help me out, those same things that you're sending to me through the DMs, put it in the review and rating section of whatever platform you're listening to the podcast on. If you're having trouble doing that, you could DM me and ask me how you submit a rating or review. But if you really want to help me out, the same amount of energy and feedback that you're giving me in my DMs, I would really appreciate it if you put it on those ratings and reviews, because that helps other people who have never heard of the podcast. When they look at it, they see your rating, they see your review, they get a little glimpse of what the podcast is about and whether they'll like it or not. And then that brings more people to listening to the amazing content that we have on this show. So I would really appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much for your support. We're going to get right on into this episode with Naomi Parchment. Let's go.
Loading.
It's a case study for success.
Be teachable.
What better way to learn than to just ask?
The learning process becomes a journey,
turning dreams into realities.
Part of execution is totally believing whatever you're doing is going to work.
What are your passions and what are your gifts? And that's where it really starts.
Chances are for taking. Take a chance on yourself.
Any and everyone is capable of being a leader.
You're not going to have all the answers immediately.
Wow.
Mentors to expose you to things that you otherwise wouldn't know.
It was all I thought about and dreamed. Like I would literally get up in the morning, practice, because I knew the time would come.
Just do it.
Because I just feel like, from what I observe from the outside, I don't know, because people make assumptions, but like I feel like you're waiting for like that moment to happen. Like I'm like, I look from the outside, I'm like, oh, she's like so close, and I'm like waiting for it to happen too. And I'm like, I wonder how that feels, because I feel like we all go through that to some certain degree.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get kind of like your insight on how that process is.
It's really irritating, but I remember at the start of this year, I prayed for patience. So I feel like God is really exercising that prayer through this year. With every month of the year, like my character has been tested, but I believe that everything that I'm dealing with is leading up to whatever is next. So it's really just helping me to have a mature faith, because I have no idea, but I know that God's promise to me is, well, a few things, but you know, I know God's promises to me, so I know that something in terms of my purpose and my giftings is like coming up real soon, but I just don't know when or what or how. Or so yeah, it's kind of frustrating and exciting at the same time, because I see, you know, like the jigsaw puzzles coming together, and it's like, oh, like, and then you meet certain people, and it's like, oh, okay,
is this
like,
it?
yeah,
Is it? Yeah, like,
so it's like, you know, but it's definitely like a preparing season for me. Like I've been working very hard, like even though nothing's really happening right now. Yeah.
Okay, I want to get back to that a little bit. Starting from the beginning a little bit. How did you get into music? And like, because some people start really young, some people start when something else happens and they revert to music or something like that. So how did it go for you?
So I've always been around music. My parents always took me to, like, from when I was like 6 months old, they would show me pictures of taking me to Kurt Franklin and Fred Hammond concerts. And so I've always been around it. My parents and family used to be in this choir that toured like all around the world. We went to Barbados, we went to like Europe. So I've always been involved in music and always wanting to be a musician. I was in piano lessons from like age 5. So, you know, it's just been something that I've always wanted to do, something that I did to de-stress. And I love to practice. I love to learn different things. Like from a young age, I remember having the Yamaha keyboard, and it had the record thing on it. So I'd be like, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
You know,
I used to
like,
have one of those
you know,
too.
I wanted to be a producer. Like that's something that I really wanted to do from a young age. So it's always been something I've been interested in. My mom told me that before I spoke, I was singing and humming and stuff like that. So I think it's just in me. It's just within me. Yeah.
So was there like a moment when you were younger where you were like, this is it, this is what I want to do?
Yeah.
This is what I want to do?
Yeah. I remember watching, I spoke about this maybe this week. I remember watching this group called S Club 7. Did y'all know about them?
Nah,
yeah. Somebody said they were famous in America, but I don't know. And I watched their tour. Like I used to watch their tours back to back, like on TV. My mom would be like, are you watching that again? And that's when I realized like I would love to do that for the rest of my life. Like every day, wake up, go somewhere new. And you know, that's why I love with the choir, we get to go so many places and meet different types of people, see different types of cultures. That's something that I want to do. Like that's when I knew. I must have been about 7. I was like, that's what I want to do, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wish I had that.
Yeah.
I mean, I see the process. When I look back, I'm like, okay, I see why God made me do that. Because a couple of times I was like, I got it. This is what I'm about to do. And then like 2 years later, I'm like, nope, switching again.
Yeah.
But what does the butterfly symbol mean?
It's a few things. It's a lot of things. But I think it's really, for the main part, it's acknowledging a process, you know, and not all of that process, like especially when the butterfly was a caterpillar, a lot of people kind of downplay it and look at it like, what is that? Like it's ugly. But then, you know, it kind of blooms and goes through the cocoon stage and stuff like that, where it has to be isolated. It has to be a focused kind of growth kind of thing.
Wow.
So there's a lot. It's really, you know, but one thing especially since I've been using it, it's kind of been like my rainbow sign. Like I promise you, every time I'm like down or like frustrated, I'll see a butterfly and I'm like, no, this can't be like coincidence. Like it's really like weird.
Wow.
So I feel like that's God's promise to me, saying like, I got you, like just keep going. So it's a few meanings, but in summary, that's what it means to me.
How do you try not to get pigeonholed there's this whole thing with that happened with LeBron James last year, where this Fox reporter, even though I think she did it on purpose for ratings or whatever, but she said he said something political. He was it was a show where athletes ride in the car, they talk about things, and they start talking about the presidency and things that they thought, their opinion. And the Fox reporter, or she has a show, and she said something like, "You're not able to talk about politics, you're a basketball player, just shut up and dribble."
Oh, wow.
That's what she said, right? So that became this whole thing, like hashtag shut up and dribble and all that stuff. And LeBron's thing is basically like, I'm more than an athlete. I could do things. He just opened up a school in Akron, his hometown, where it's taking, I forgot how many hundred kids it's taking in from the inner city of Akron, but he's just doing all these philanthropic things that's showing that he's more than an athlete. And Nike's taking on this thing with Colin Kaepernick and people doing things in the community. But people try to pigeonhole you kind of like, okay, just stick to singing, just stick to music or whatever, and they forget that you're a whole person.
Right.
So like, how do you deal with that?
I don't. I just do. Like, one thing I've always been taught to do is to just, if you want to do it, then do it. I'm a very tenacious person in that, like, I don't let people, like, a lot of people told me that I would never be able to come to America, and I said, all right, cool. You know what I mean?
So you wanted to come here?
Yeah.
Like, that was your...
It wasn't my initial plan.
Oh, I was like...
Because I was in school before I got here for 2 years. So I literally left in the middle of my education there. And
Why?
God told me to come. And that's so, like, mad spiritual. But that's literally how it happened. He was like, you need to be there. I said, now? He was like, yep.
What? So did you see, like, Oakwood specifically? Or it was just America?
So, a friend of mine used to live in England. And she was kind of the messenger. She was like, I really believe God's telling you to go to Oakwood. And I said, Oakwood, what's that? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even really know much about it. I went to visit, and I said, wow, yeah, this is it. This is like one of the only places I've ever been to where music really draws people towards Christ. And you're able to work on so many different genres, you know. In England, I was kind of like pigeonholed to just do like soul and gospel. But here I've been able to explore everything, you know. So, yeah, it was one of those moments where literally God told me to come here. I said, all right, true.
Wow. That's a long way to go.
Yeah, it is. 4,000 miles.
That's powerful. God tells you to go. You never know what's in store. So you came to Oakwood. And how did that process go? I mean, you're in a completely different country. I don't think... Did you have friends already when you came here?
I knew people, but not really. Like, I didn't really know them that well.
And was your goal to become... Were you in music school or were you just in liberal arts?
I was in music school.
Wow. So you came from a music school to a liberal arts university.
Yeah, in a different country.
In a different country.
With barely any money. Yep.
Wow. So what do you think has been the benefit of you taking that leap of faith?
I think that there's a lot of things that I learned personally, like character-wise. Man, it's just so many things. I learned a lot about myself. I learned how to cope by myself. I learned how to prioritize, save money, to make money, to, you know what I mean? Like things that I probably wouldn't have learned if I was still in England, just because I was comfortable. So like the discomfort forced me to like grow up a whole lot and forced me to, like I said before, to have a mature faith. You know, before it was just my parents' faith, you know, I believed because they believed. And that was cool, you know what I mean? But I felt like where God was trying to take, or is trying to take me, he needed me to like believe in him because, you know, we have a relationship. So I think that was really one of the main reasons he brought me to Oakwood was to save me. Because I really believe if I was in England, I don't know about
How's
church.
the gospel scene in England?
It's growing, but it's not as established as it is here in America. There's some amazing artists, like really great, but they don't have the financial support and also just the support in general. Like people don't really support gospel music like that in England. So yeah, I think the main reason for me coming to America in general was just to build who I am as a person, as well as all the rest of the, amazing things that's happened.
So, I'm starting to have to make some big decisions, and like, how did you go about that process? Because I mean, I'm glad that you made the decision, and I'm sure God is as well. But there had to be some type of like thought process behind it. I don't know if it was pros and cons or if it was strictly like, Lord, I don't know. Like
it was literally a real faith walk, because as I said, I was pretty much 75% done with my degree in England. Like, yeah. And I was like, why can't I wait a year? Like, could I just wait a year and he was like, no, I really need you to go now.
Crazy.
So it really was myself. If I was thinking of myself, I probably wouldn't have gone. If I would have thought like, yo, like the money and like, I'm like, I'm almost to my degree now. And if I didn't go then, I probably never would have came to America. Like, just because of the way things probably would have gone. Right. I would have got my master's, I would have got a job. You know what I mean? I would have been too comfortable. And so God literally took me at the time where it was like, all right, yeah, don't have a lot of obligations. It's time to go now. And I said, boy, yeah, it really was scary. It was scary. But I knew it was something that God needed me to do. And so, I came.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe he needs you to be on my podcast. I don't know.
Maybe.
Social media. I'm getting into social media more now that I'm creating more. But it's like hard to like be consistent, at least for me. You're big on social media. Do you put any like thought into it, or do you it's just natural?
Yeah, I just share what it is I feel like I need, or if I feel like, yo, that would be cool to share, then I share it. I don't like have any tactics or strategies. Right. Maybe I should. But
no, I mean, it's clearly working. But like, with me, that's kind of how I'm doing it now. Like those things I put like up on Instagram or whatever, they just come when they come. I put them up. I read a lot, so I get lots of good quotes usually every day, and they kind of build up so I can put them out. But sometimes I just don't have anything to give, and I'm like, I feel compelled to do something because people are like always asking, or people are like, oh, you haven't posted or whatever, and I'm like, I mean, I haven't had any inspiration, right? So I just always find that interesting. Also, do you ever feel like does anything like negative come out of that at all?
Of social media? Yeah.
Like, is there anything that you don't like about it? Or
I think my only thing is with this new age of, social media being so important, it kind of forces you into that whole comparison thing.
Yeah.
So, as well as there being idiots online, there's some people that are just, they don't have any life, and it's just like, what are you saying? There's that, but it's just, for me, it's like, sometimes you be watching people and like, man, they are so good, like, and then like, you get into the whole, I didn't even know this was a feature, the insight thing, where you can see, like, when I saw that, I said, no, I don't need to see that, because then you get really caught up in who's looking, who's not looking, I'm not good enough to, you get up into all those issues. And I think that has been probably one of the main things, like not being engrossed in social media, because it's a cool networking tool, great to meet people and to, learn a lot of things, but it's not real life.
Right.
You don't see the process between, other people's stories, and you don't see what they do and how they got to where they were. You just see the final product.
Right. No one puts up their failures.
Yeah. Right. So I had to learn that and stop looking at it so much and spend like 2 hours before bed on it, and not like the whole day looking who commented, because that's when it drives you crazy. Yeah.
How do you stay motivated if you're doing something for so long, you've been doing it your whole life, people are telling you, they're in your ear like, oh, Naomi, but like things still have, or people expect things like some people, like when I went to New York and stuff for Spotify, people were like, "Oh, you doing this and that." I'm like, dude, it's not that deep. I'll be back.
Yep.
I'm still have no money. I don't like so
real.
like people assume that you're doing things. How do you, and sometimes you feel like I should be. How do you stay motivated like in that process?
It's hard. It is really hard because sometimes what God promises is not like very, you can't see in your reality. It's like, what's going on, you know? But I think that the passion kind of drives my motivation and determination to just do it. Like, even when I don't really feel great about it, I'm always like, every day I try and practice something or finish writing something. Like, that's what keeps me motivated. It's something that I know is my passion. It's something that I know that God has called me to do. So whether that, even if it's not like I'm prosperous financially from what I'm doing, I know that I'm still working within my purpose, and that gives me enough motivation to keep, doing it. The fact that I'm alive means that I have purpose, which means I'm here to do something. I have to think of it like that.
Yeah. When
I get caught up on like, man, I'm broke, man, like, it's not about that. It really isn't. I'm trying to get my mind out of that. And I believe that, my gift will make room for me. So God won't leave me. Like, he's never left me without. So,
Right.
I know those things will be covered. But it's like, what is it that I think that's where I am, like, right now. What is it am I supposed to be doing on this earth? Like, because there's a lot of stuff going down. Like, it's sad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I could have, I would love to be comfortable and to be, have a house and all of that kind of stuff. But what would that be without not realizing your purpose and not, really working and doing what you're supposed to be doing? So that's what I think of when I get unmotivated or whatever to do what I'm supposed to be doing.
I've been reading this thing on the Bible app, and it basically, like, I don't know, this thing came like right at the right time for me, and it's saying basically like, what decisions are you making like for your life story? Like, when you look back, or let's say you write a book about what your life was and what you want your life story to be, how are you influencing that right now?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, like if I were thinking about it that way, from kind of like the future backward, I wouldn't be like making some of the decisions or not doing certain things. Because sometimes that's even worse than doing certain things. It's just not doing anything. And for like creating, do you create like every day?
I try to. Yeah.
So you're intentional about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering, I was like, because you put out a lot of stuff, or it seems like you're always like working on something. And I'm like, that's what I try to do too. Yeah. But sometimes I have to like force myself. Like, I'm in bed, I'm like, I'm tired. I don't feel like doing it. I've been running all day, but I'm like, nah, go create something, because just the repetition, and it makes me feel good afterwards. Yeah. And
it's therapeutic.
Yeah, it's therapeutic. So I'm like, nah, go do it. But sometimes I have to force myself.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I feel like people just have
I enjoy
stuff,
it, but
like,
it's like sometimes it's like, man, I've been in life sciences class.
Right,
like,
exactly. Like,
I'm tired. Like,
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there something that you wish people knew about you outside of your profession? Like, because people know that you could sing. People know that you could play. But, like, is there anything else?
I think that I'm just a real human being. I think the more that social media has grown for me, like, people just, they kind of make those things separate. Like, no, she's Naomi the jukebox, the singer, the worship leader. But no, I'm a real person. I struggle, insecurities and, struggle with money. I'm a student. You know what I mean? I'm still a person. I think that's one of the things that, especially at Oakwood, meeting a lot of the freshmen and sophomores, they'd be like, oh, and I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, and then after speaking to me, they realize, oh, you're just normal. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
What did you expect?
And to be honest, you've kind of helped me with that. Because I see you
3 times a week. Is that a plane?
Yeah. It must be something from the Army base. I'm like, what in the world? But you helped me realize, I mean, I see these people like you know, Libs and Jarius and Gay Kunda and you know, C-Dub and all these people I'm watching. I'm just like, yo, and then there's you too, and you're like you're in that circle.
Appreciate it.
And I'm like, wait, if I see Naomi like every day,
Yep.
she's a normal person.
Normal.
Like, she's approachable and everything. I'm like, well, I guess they are too.
Mm-hmm.
And
They
like,
are.
it makes me kind of humanize everyone, even to the biggest celebrities. I'm like, wow, like, let's say somebody like, I don't know. I always think in sports, so I was going to say like Dwayne Wade, but somebody outside of
I actually know
sports.
who that is. So.
Yes. So like, I don't know, somebody like Steve Harvey or whatever, who's like super duper famous. I'm like, I still think in my mind, like, that's still a normal guy. He still has to go home. He still sleeps like me. He still eats like me. He still has friends and family like me. And that's just like a frame of mind that I think just helps you realize that you can be anything that you want to be, because all these people are normal. So
we all have the same 24 hours.
Exactly.
And that's what was it the Quincy Jones doc. Have you watched that?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
Yes.
It's so great. And he was saying we all have the same 12 notes. Everybody.
Yeah.
And I said, we sure do, but I don't know how to do it like you. Like, how did you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the people that he studied with, like, it's just crazy. But we all have the same opportunity.
Right.
We have the same, and I hate when people say this, we have the same 24 hours as Oprah, but we really do.
We really do.
Yeah.
Even the same 12 notes, I mean, you're never going to reach the maximum potential of those 12 notes. No matter how you form them, there's more options.
Yeah, there's always more.
There's more options. And people with those 12 notes develop their own style. They develop their own sound. They develop their own personality. And that's the same thing. Like, you're not going to be able to do everything.
Right.
But you have you.
Right.
And you're able to do with those 24 hours, those 12 notes, what you can do. And you work at it hard. You learn new things. You pick things up from different people. But it's still you.
Yeah. And that's really what I hope to inspire people to see, that like you can really do it. Like, that's why one of the reasons why I share the whole me trying to clear every semester, because it kind of makes people see like wow, like she's still working towards something, like she still has to put this thing together. And it just makes people see like God is real. Like, he's faithful, and you can literally do anything. I came here with, I think I had like $2,500. That's it.
Wow.
And, you know, I have one semester left. You know what I'm saying? Like, and beyond just it being school, like, it's just a bigger picture to say that literally if you, all you need is a little bit of faith, and you can literally do anything with it, with work, hard work, determination. Like, and that's really what I hope to do with, I guess, quote unquote, the platform that has been given to me, is to inspire other people to just do it. If you have a passion and a God-given dream, just do
go
it.
for it.
Yeah, why not? You know?
Just go for it.
And if you fail, okay.
You'll still be farther than you were when you started.
For real.
So, I mean, that's why I'm doing what I do now. Like, sometimes I'm just like, why? Like, what's the point? Like, all this time. Like, people don't see the amount of time and the amount of, like, effort I put into these things, even though it just looks like, oh yeah, he just, recorded somebody.
Right.
But no, like, I have to book the talent. I have to go reach out to these people. I have to edit it. I have to produce it. I have to put all the, and it takes time. And like, sometimes I'm like, why? Is it worth it? Like, especially when you don't get the feedback. And that's kind of what the guy talked about in the episode that was released this week or last week. He was like, oh, this is going to be great. Like, people are going to love this. And people were like, yeah, it's cool. And he was like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, all this time I put into this, and you guys are like, that's cool?
Yeah.
So, like, it's the few things. It's like that one person that's like, I needed this today. And I'm just like, all right, that's why.
Yeah. And it's all preparation. That's what I see this whole 4 years as, every day as, is preparation for an opportunity. And when those two things collide, it's like, wow.
Yeah. Quincy Jones. Yeah. What was the quote? He said, he was like, there's nothing worse than missing an opportunity, or there's nothing. Oh, shoot. How did it go? The way he worded it, it's like, there's nothing worse than having an opportunity you're not prepared for.
Right.
That's what it was.
Right.
I'm like, yeah. Because once you have it, and you're not ready, it's gone. So that's what every day is, just building for that time. I don't know when it is or when it's gonna come.
Yeah,
but yeah,
but it is coming, and I'm excited to hear about it. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, that's it, Naomi.
All right,
candid discussion.
Yay, it's been fun.
I appreciate you being on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, there you go. That's our episode for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Sitting down with Naomi. Once again, I'll put all of her plug information for her music, Instagram, on the show notes so that you can follow her, listen to her music. Trust me, you definitely want to do that. She is incredible. I hope you enjoyed it. That's about it for me. I will talk to you guys next week on the next episode of the Muse Report. Keep being the amazing fans and supporters and listeners that you are. Peace.
Well, that's the end of our MRP episode. Thank you for listening, everything, but it's time to go. We'll have a new one for you next week on the flip side. But until then, don't kill the vibe, subscribe. Don't kill the vibe, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Don't kill the vibe, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Don't kill the vibe, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Don't kill the vibe, make sure you go ahead and subscribe.
Hey guys, Clee here. Thanks so much for listening to the Build Your Vision podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would think you did if you stayed all the way to the end. The best thing that you could do to help support this show is by sharing it with somebody. By you just taking a few seconds to recommend this show to somebody, you are making a huge impact, not only on the success of this show, but possibly on that person's life.